Hello everybody, my name of course is Kashy and welcome back to a brand new Krunker video. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to trade. So you might be wondering, well, who is this Kashy guy that's going to teach me how to trade? Well, I've been trading since the day that it was added into Krunker, and I traded up from nothing to a frostbite, and then after getting that, I had an antimatter from nothing in 2 weeks. I've also went from nothing to a moon feather, and I currently have an RGB as well on top of both of those. So I'm pretty well rounded when it comes to trading in Krunker. Now I've flexed on you, let me actually teach you how to make stonks. Stonks are what we call profit here in Krunker. This is stonks. But don't be fooled, because the EST is not what you always want to rely on. As you can see on this trade here, the EST of this item is much higher, as it's sold, well, actually twice at 45k. For example, the EST of these bits here is 150k. But if you actually go and look at what it sells for on the regular, which it doesn't actually sell very often, but it goes for around 50 to 40k on the market, and this item actually trades at 45k. So do not trust the EST value. The way that we like to value items in Krunker is if you're in a trade or you've been sent a trade, right click the item, maybe put this to 3 months and just see what it continuously sells for. The reason I'm putting this at the beginning of the video is that's it. You now know how to trade in Krunker. Some people find it a little bit more difficult, so that's okay. Let me teach you a few more tricks. Before I continue with this video, I would like you to take all of the prices in this video with a grain of salt. Prices in Krunker are always subject to extreme fluctuations, so the time that you're watching this video, the item that I'm trading might be a completely different value because the demand of it's changed. This can be because of many different reasons. Maybe the weapon got a buff, maybe it got an updated animation, maybe there's just not a lot of them, or maybe the item has died in demand and no one likes it anymore and something else is cooler, so it's gone down a lot. As you can see, I'm already talking about demand, and that's something that's going to be a big factor when you're trading in Krunker. I'm going to be getting on to how you find out what the demanded items are and how you actually get them. I've made videos on this before, but we're going to be covering it all in today's ultimate trading guide. I want you first to have belief that you can learn. Being able to come back from losses is a big part of trading because it will happen. Experience is key, and you need to know that sometimes things like this you won't learn overnight, and you're definitely not going to get rich quick. But there are rare circumstances that can happen, and I'm going to teach you how to increase your chances of getting a really stonks lucky trade later in this video. So I want to cover demand because I believe it is the second most important thing to trading. Rarity does not equal demand. Some contras will have less demand than some relics. For example, this head right here, the heat mat, will not have as much demand as a season 3 dye like a crimson, for example, or a stream suit. This is because everyone likes dyes, and anyone that plays the game can put a dye on because it's a cosmetic. Also, this is why knives go for a lot. Same with AK and sniper because they're the most played classes in the game. But some snipers are kind of trashy tier, like this Death Parade, for example. Same with some AKs, like this Kaiju is kind of nice, but it doesn't go for that much. Nothing in comparison to like the new Eliminator or anything. And I'm going to be keeping my eye on all these new remodeled snipers and AKs because my god are they beautiful, and does everybody want them. But yes, rarity does not equal demand. So sometimes trading your contrabands for relics is stonks. I do it literally all of the time. It's called downgrading. If you downgrade for profit, that's a good trade. Here is a picture of some of the most demanded contras and relics that you want to be trading for right now. Obviously, this list is subject to change, so make sure you hop in lobbies and try and figure it out yourself. I trade a lot in the game, and I speak to loads and loads of different people, so I get to hear everyone's opinions on what items they're looking for and what they want, and streaming really helps with this, obviously. Once you trade enough skins in Krunker, you'll tend to pick up what things people like and what people don't. Obviously, people are going to really want a Barrett. Not a lot of people are going to want a CZ auto pistol. Some people want a drift tamer because it's a spinny back item, but it's kind of an old thing now. We've seen this quite a lot, so it won't be upwards of 40k or anything anymore. New remodeled knives are going to be desired, as well as katanas, because katanas are always high in demand. All right, let's talk about upgrades and downgrades. This is what you call an upgrade. I'm giving multiple items for one item, simply 2 here, and this is what you call a downgrade. I'm giving one of my items for multiple other items. That's it. Most of the time when you're downgrading, you would expect the other person in the trade to overpay a little bit. That's why downgrading is an easy way to make profit. And in the early days when I started trading, I would pay an even amount for this Vanta Black. So let's say I pay like 300k for this, and then I'll go and downgrade it to this guy for 305. Don't get too stuck up on if they're giving you bad items. Okay, this guy gave me a Captain Galaxy, but I look at it. Last sold 12k, that's not even that bad. It might be a hard flip, but if it really comes down to it, I can always just list it on the market and take the 10% loss. At the end of the day, overall, this trade is really worth it, and I needed a downgrade on Vanta Black. I like to keep a lot of items in my inventory, so that then when I walk into a trade server, whoever's trading with me has a wide selection of items to trade from. Essentially like a shop is how I like to think about it. But let's go back to upgrades and downgrades. Nowadays, I'll try and upgrade for profit. What I mean by this is I'll put an item in and then just see how much they'll add and see how far they'll go. I would never feel bad about trying to push somebody to like do a trade with me, because at the end of the day, if they're willing to put the items in and press accept, they would have traded it with anyone anyway. So if they're going to trade their items away, I'd rather they trade them to me, which is why I like sitting in lobbies for so long and just seeing how many people I can talk to and trade with. The more people you offer and the more people you talk to, the more likely you're going to get better trades. That is just simple. Sometimes it's less skill and just more time. Like this was a really good trade here. Robo, which is like, I think this is 11k EST, but it's like 11k maybe. And this Pellucid, which was about 12k at the time when I traded it. So that's a good upgrade for Flame Fang. Since I paid 11 and 12, I would try and get a 25k downgrade on this, which is definitely possible. Most of the time, people are willing to pay a little bit more in items than what most people would pay in KR, as KR is 1.2 times more valuable than items. Meaning if you buy an item for KR, you'd be buying it for 20% less than what you should be trading it for. Most of the time, when we're talking about low tier contras, it really isn't much different when you're trading items than what people buy it on for the market, but especially in the high tier, it can make a lot of difference. Okay, so now you understand the basics. I'm gonna go into a trade lobby and show you what I do. I'll put my RGB on so more people trade with me. If you don't have an RGB, it's only 3 million KR. Just go and get one and then it'll make it easy to trade. I actually complained that it was so annoying to have a cooldown on how many people you could request at a time. So Sid added this wonderful button here, so where we can just click it and just request anyone in the lobby. Thank you, Sydney, for making it easier for me to make stonks. So yeah, I just sit here and go down the list and just request everybody until someone accepts. This guy has nothing, so I leave him alone. I shouldn't say nothing. He doesn't have the items that I'm looking for. So I'll just go down this list and just request everybody in the lobby until I can find somebody with items that I want. All right, so it's a few days later here, and I finally found a trade. This just goes to show how difficult trading can be, even for someone like me who's been doing it since day one. I can sit in a trade lobby for like 45 minutes and not make a single trade, and then I went into a trade lobby today to get recording for this, and I got 3 trades within like 20 minutes. And that's just the way it goes, really. So I first out started looking at this guy's AK Iris. I noticed that the EST was 23k when I knew that I could trade it for at least 25k. I was the one that actually sold one of these for 23k on the market so I could get some KR. So I know this is undercut. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to give items that I have that are over EST valued. So I give him an actually bad trade here. I don't know why I gave him 13k and 12k. I actually gave him 25k, which is not what I actually wanted to do. What you want to do here is you want to look for multiple of your items that have a high EST that you can put in. Now I see he has Crown Spinner and he wants to put it in. So I'm thinking for an item that I can give for Crown Spinner, and then he puts in both. So I'm thinking we got 25k here and 25 to 28k. Well, that's 50 to 54k. So I'm looking for an item around that. I find the exoskeleton, which consistently sells for 50k. If we use the numbers from earlier, we would see that this would be worth 55k roughly in items. 54k, 55k, here we go. And that's it. We got the DG on the exoskeleton for an AK Iris and a Crown Spinner. And honestly, all you can do is offer. Now, the more people you trade with, the more trades you're going to get. So let's hop into the next one. All right, so as you can see here, I bumped into this guy. I saw he only had a Vapor Blade. It was the only item I cared about. So I just threw in a bunch of random relics. I'm not going to lie. These are a bunch of trashy tier, awful relics that were just sitting at the bottom of my inventory that I need to upgrade. So as this guy had no relics and no contras, I thought that maybe if I gave him 5 relics, he would give me his legendary knife. He might see this as a really good upgrade, although it's technically a downgrade, but you know what I'm trying to say. He then wanted something else. I'm pretty sure he wanted mallet, and I'm like, yeah, mallet is way too expensive. And then watch what I do here. Watch this, watch this. When I add my relics back, I add back cheaper items, and he doesn't even notice. And then do you know what I do here? I don't even say that much. I just told him that he couldn't afford the mallet. I put in my relics, and I hit accept. Sometimes you need to have the balls to lowball, because this happens more than you would believe. Now, you are going to get said no to a lot. No, Kashy, no, Kashy, no, Kashy. But when you go into a trade, I never want you to show your best cards. What I mean by this is, if there's an item for 25k, I don't want you to walk in there and offer the guy 25.5k. What I want you to do is walk in there, offer the guy 18k, then when he asks you to add a little bit, you add 3k, then you're giving like 22k and you walk away with 3k profit. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you trade. All right, we got one more here. We got this guy wanted my Hackuzate AK. We went through a few different offers before he asked for this, but he asked for my Hackuzate AK. I have 2 of these. The EST sits at 57k, but I know these consistently sell for 60k plus. As they honestly haven't sold on the market that much, I was okay with taking a fairly large downgrade for this. Now, when I added up the items originally, I added it to just under 60. I then noticed the AK Mortal was 20k last sold, and it sells it very, very frequently. So I was willing to take this like 63k downgrade for my Hack AK, and that was a good trade. I was very happy with that downgrade. Hopefully you're beginning to see how I like to trade in Krunker and the kind of trades I like to take. Even if it's only a few thousand KR profit, I will take the profit. Stonks is stonks. Never get greedy. Take what you can get. Make sure you are also being time effective. Don't sit in a trade with one guy that you know isn't going to accept anything for like an hour straight. If you've made a few offers already and they've said no repeatedly and they can't even tell you what they want, then that's when you know it's time to leave. Now, there are a few more items that you want to be looking for, not just from Season 5, but also Season 4. So I'm just going to play a small segment of my Saturday Stonks video from Season 4, so you can see some of the other demanded items that you want to be going for.
And the most demanded items are going to be things like deagles, knives, and cosmetics, because everybody uses them. We also have sword-offs here. Sword-offs aren't a bad option when you're going and trading around legendaries. So you want to be upgrading your legendaries to these items. These items here, you want to be upgrading to these items here, which are faces, shoes. I put the AK Mortal on here. The AK Mortal is one of the most demanded relic AKs in the game. Everyone uses AK, so it just makes sense. And it was released in Season 1. We also have my favorite trio combo, Vectus, Cast Iron, and Mallet. And let me show you what you should start going for next. This is in order of least demanded to the most demanded. All right, here we go. So, there's a lot of contrabands, and there are a lot that aren't on this slide, but generally, these are the items that I like to trade for and go for in-game.
All right, now if you can get yourself up to those contrabands, you're going to be unlocking all of the new unobtainables in absolutely no time. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ping me in Discord. Leave a comment if you have any questions. I'll be reading and replying to all of them. G Fuel is now 30% off with code Kashy until December 10th, so if you want to help support the channel, I'd really appreciate if you go over and buy yourself a tub. G Fuel is the best energy formula in the game. No sugar. It actually fuels you up for hours and it tastes absolutely amazing. Please feel free to go check it out in the link description. Don't forget to use code Kashy if you're buying any KR. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.